For my second YouTube video, I thought I would go through my polymer clay art sculptures. And to start off, I wanted to show you guys something that my father made. And he made this for me when I was 10. And I think my artistic abilities come from him. So shout out to my dad. And I still love this piece. Starting off with my first piece, I was pretty excited to work with clay, and my first thought was I could use a little glass gem to make a piece of jewelry. And I had pet mice and pet rats at the time, and I absolutely adore them. And I thought if I curled the tail, I could make this into a necklace. And I never really went through with it all the way because I think it looks a little funky. And when I try to coat it in resin, it turned yellow right away and looked kind of gunky. It kind of looks gunky, but I still got a lot of feelings towards this piece because it was my first. So I decided to keep it. And this is it. So, first piece. My second piece, I went online and randomly chose a character. I think it was on DeviantArt scrolling. And I just wanted to do something out of the blue, like something I wasn't expecting. I do not know this character. I do not know where it's from, or even if any of you guys will recognize this character. But it is, I think, a cartoon or something on TV. And randomly chose it and decided to go through with it. And I did a lot of tweaking to this piece. And the ear broke and I had to glue it back together. But I like how spooky and warped and chipped it is. Kind of looks like a wolf to me, with a good hairdo. But I kept this, and I'm gonna keep this. And then this piece, which is supposed to be a shell, and I really like the way it came out. I tried to dirty it up a little bit with paint and other things and give it some detail. So, and again, I was going to make this into a piece of jewelry, but didn't go through with it. This is a rat that kind of looks like a mouse, but it's supposed to be a rat. And I just used whatever polymer clay I had left. And so I mixed the colors together and got this guy, which actually looks really pretty. And I'm really glad the way he turned out. Very cute. I've always had this piece out because I enjoy looking at him. And then I made this pumpkin. So I guess it was around Halloween time. And I was going to make this into a charm or a keychain. And I never did that. Maybe put it on, I started. I put the metal thing in there. And then I coated it with resin. And there was too much resin on the metal. And when I took it off, it kind of took off some of the work there. And kind of disappointed, but I still think he's super cute, so I kept him. Moving on to, I enjoy cupcakes, and I went to school for baking and pastry, and I worked at a couple cupcake shops, but that was in the past. And I was gonna make these into earrings, and I made them, and this is what they look like, but didn't make them into earrings. So this is another little cupcake with pink frosting, and I like lemon, and I think this is absolutely adorable. I was gonna make these into earrings too, but didn't go forward with it. I was afraid that I might lose some of the detail. I thought it was really cute, so I didn't give it a coat of resin. And I still really like them. I totally would wear them. Since I was in culinary, pineapple is the symbol for hospitality, so I really liked pineapples, and I tried to make myself a keychain. I made a couple of these. I was going to keep one and sell some at some arts and crafts fairs. So I sold one to a little girl, and immediately one of the leaves broke. And I realized, that's not going to work, so I gave her another one, and I took back the one that broke. I don't know if this is that piece, but I know a couple more of them broke. Cute, but I will not be making any more of these, and I learned a lesson that if the clay is too small, it's going to break. I'm sure some of you guys know this character off of Bob's Burgers. His name is Coochie Copy, and he's a nightlight for a little girl called Louise. And I was absolutely in love with Coochie Copy, and so this was my first attempt of making him. And you can see at the top his head looks a little, like, warped, and that is resin that cured, because I set him upside down to dry, and it kind of just all fell to the bottom of his head and gave him this lump, which is okay because he kind of looks like the Coochie Copy in another episode. And if you're a fan, you know what I'm talking about. This is a better attempt of making Coochie Copy. A lot more pleased with this piece. And his eyes actually glow in the dark. So he is kind of not like a real nightlight. I wanted to make him into a keychain, but decided he was so cute and so perfect already. So I just put him on my shelf, and I really enjoy this piece. Moving on to earrings of Coochie Copy. Didn't make this pair into earrings. However, I did go through with the ideal, and I made these, and they were up for sale at an arts and crafts fair, but no one got them, and the eyes glow in the dark with these two, and I'm keeping them, and maybe if I go to another art fair, I will sell them at the art fair. Some pumpkin earrings. I enjoyed working with jewelry tools and kits at this time, just getting into making jewelry. So this is the beginning. Love holidays too, so I had to make me some Christmas trees. These are polymer clay pin cushions, earrings. I like sewing. I don't do a lot of it, but I think these are so adorable, so I made me a pair, and I made a couple more, and I have them for sale. These are beads, and I think I thrifted these wings. I made the head and the yellow and black piece right here out of polymer clay. And I made 2 pairs, and one of them already sold. So this is the last pair. So these little guys, I made 4 sets. One standing up and one laying down. It was around Halloween, and I made them for an arts and crafts fair. And I think I gave away a set. And I used pennies so they would lay flat and not fall over. I didn't want anyone trying to put it on a shelf and it roll right off. So, you know, and pennies were kind of heavy and worked perfect. So I think I used the year I made them. The pennies, 2017. So I made these in 2017. And they look like candy corn. I guess it was around Halloween. I think they're adorable. And I will continue to put them up and see if anyone wants a pair. Let's see what I priced them at. Okay, I wanted 15 for one of them. Very delicate work, but they're so cute. And I still have 3 pairs left. Going to the next thing. This is unfinished work. This is a snowman. And there were arms in there, metal arms. I bet they fell out. It's been so long. I haven't given up on them. Maybe this year I will continue and finish him. I made this for my husband. Adorable little dinosaur. I even gave him a little butthole. I made him, I think, 2017. And I'm really happy with the way he turned out. And I keep him out on my husband's computer desk. This is a snake. You can see my progress is getting better. My skills with polymer clay. I think the snake is very smooth. I love the way I painted it. Again, when I let it dry with the resin, it kind of made a drip spot right here. And I'm thinking about trying to sand it off. But I don't want to break him or her. Like, it's like, I'm scared. It's too cool to break. Too cool to break. Moving on to some bigger pieces. This is my first big piece. And kind of dirty. She's been sitting on my shelf for a very long time. I used a piece of wood and sanded it down to make it look more pretty and smooth. And these are chopsticks. I was inspired by whales and dolphins. So this is a creature that was made with looking at pictures of dolphins and whales. So I'm not sure if you call this a whale. You can call it a dolphin, but I think it's super cute, and I love the colors, teal and pink, and I put gold flakes. I made the back of his scales kind of wavy, his little fin, and then wanted to add some texture. It was kind of, these little pink dots remind me of barnacles, and I put them on her head too, and I used gold flakes, and I was very gentle with the resin with this one. Like, hardly used any resin because I didn't want the drips. And this is my first piece that I was confident enough to try to sell online. It never sold because I didn't get what I wanted for it. Probably the price was too high. But if you guys knew how long it took me to put this thing together, and I guess now it's just hard for me to separate with it. Like, I don't even know how much I would sell it for if I try to sell it. But super cute. I should name her. Let's go on to the next piece. So this is Wally. He's my pet dog, my pet chihuahua. And I had to make a statue of him because I love him so much. I used different clays for his body, and I thought they looked pretty cool. So what I did is I carved out a heart so you could see the inside, how many different color clays I used. This is polymer clay, by the way, and he really does have a collar that looks like that. He's super sweet, and I'm super proud of this piece. A lot of details went in there. And then I glazed him, and I kind of liked him better matte, but I was afraid that something would break, and I wanted the resin on him so that he'd be more sturdy. Let me close up of some of his details. His feet, his tail, he really does have these spots on him. And then on the back, he has these two dark spots. And he is adorable. He's just adorable. So this is one of my favorite pieces. Absolutely. Up next, I have another pet. His name is Echo, and he's a house gecko. And this is the last piece I worked on. So the latest, the newest. And I really coat him in resin because his fingers kept popping off. I had some troubles putting the stand together, and the nails kind of make it propped up on one side. It doesn't wobble, but when I put the base together, I hammered these nails through the bottom, and maybe I should have used a drill or something so that the heads would go all the way in and it wouldn't make it wobbly at first. But it worked out. I mean, I'm not selling him or anything. He's mine because this is my pet. This is my pet. And again, his name is Echo, and he's my first gecko. And he opened up a lot of doors for me, so I had to appreciate him and make him a statue. Let me bring him closer to the camera so you guys can really see him. His eyes, the back. When I used the snakeskin shed, it made a texture on the clay. But after painting it and putting resin on it, you can't really see it. I think the only spot you can really see it is on the arm. Let's see. You can kind of see it. You can kind of see the texture. And I think that part of the arm looks awesome. And I really went to town on coating him with resin. So there's some drips going on, and need to watch it, like remembering my past experiences and try to slow down just a little bit. But when I get this close to being finished, I kind of start rushing, and I need to calm down. But he is super cool, and I'm gonna try to keep that tail intact. Because I know the first piece that'll probably pop off or break is this tip of the tail. It's super cool, and I bet Echo is gonna love this statue when I show him. So I almost forgot to show you guys a necklace I made to go to a show, Ryan and Jane's show, Puppet History. And this is the professor, and I made him out of polymer clay. and it looks pretty funky, but I like the way it turned out. I made it in a rush. I wanted to wear it when I went to the show, so I kind of rushed it a little bit, but he came out pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I made some jelly beans to go on the necklace because I didn't have any jelly bean beads. But he's pretty cool. Couldn't leave him out. Had to show you guys. Also, I wanted to share some of the copies I tried to make of some of my clay creations. Again, this is one of my favorites. So I got some resin, and this is, I think, my test run for it. There's air bubbles everywhere, pieces missing, but that was one attempt of copying him. And then I was using resin for other projects and kept on having some left over, so I just dumped it into his mold to make another one. And this is how that turned out. And then one more. Again, I had too much resin for a project, so I decided to make another copy. This is probably the best copy, actually. I mean, there's some pieces missing, like the foot's not there. And there's air bubbles at the bottom, but the top looks pretty good. Coochie Copy. I definitely wanted to make copies of Coochie Copy. So I made a mold of this one. First go around, this is how it came out. Not too bad. Not too bad. Better than the rat statue right here. A lot of bubbles inside of him. And I looked up how you could get rid of those with a pressure pot, but I do not have a pressure pot at the moment. Maybe in the future. Here's another try. Bubbles. Some excess resin that I wanted to use. Pretty cute. I want to try to clone some of my other creations, but I think I'm going to give trying to make clones of my creations right now a break, and I'm working on other projects right now. Thanks for sticking with me if you're still here, and I loved showing you my polymer clay work. Super fun, frustrating at times, but as you go on, or as I go on, I get better and better and better. If you made it this far, thank you for sticking with me, and I enjoyed showing off my artwork. It's very exciting. I don't do it very often, but I had a lot of fun making these, and if you ever want to try out polymer clay, it's very fun. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a good one. Bye.